So this comment was made to my video, is Charlie Kirk's biblical Christianity really compatible with American values? And it wasn't. It's not compatible to a free America, and it's biblical Christianity is what he preached, and it was racist, homophobic, sexist, you name it. And so this is the comment I received to that video. He says, "Wow, I will pray for you, Kim. The Bible teaches truth, something you certainly don't." So here was my reply. I left that one in the comment section, so here's my reply to that one. "The projection is strong with you. I will think for you. I teach facts, something you certainly don't. Prayers won't get you anywhere. How about instead of criticizing me, you provide me with verifiable facts that God is real without using a religious book to do it? Muslims can say the Quran is true. Does that make it so?" You know, that's one. That was more of an innocent reply, so I put it in there. So let me look through here. Okay, and then this one, this reply was to a Charlie Kirk video I did that's called, "Is Charlie Kirk's Biblical Christianity Really Compatible with American Values?" So this is another one. Whoops. Okay. On my tablet, it somehow phased out, and I had to open back up the window. So here's another reply to that same video. This person says, "Darling, the shooter was a queer radical." And that's all they gave for the on the video. I'm talking about how bad Charlie Kirk was, and how, you know, how much of a threat he was to American values. And all this person had to say on this was, "Darling, the shooter was a queer radical." So here's my reply to that one. So that one I left in the comments section because it clearly displayed ignorance, and it wasn't, you know, name calling to me. So I left it in the comment section. You guys can go back, find that, and comment on that. So it says, "Darling, the shooter was a queer radical." And this had to do with Charlie Kirk, biblical Christianity to the American values. So when talking about Charlie Kirk's is Charlie Kirk's biblical Christianity really compatible with American values? And I was talking about how bad Charlie Kirk was. This person says, "Darling, the shooter was a queer radical." How does that have anything to do with Charlie Kirk's biblical Christianity, you know, compatible with American values? How does that fit in there? So this was my reply to this person, and listen to my reply. So my reply is, "This comment shows your ignorance and discrimination. First, you are believing conspiracy theories. Secondly, the radicals are actually Trump and MAGA Christian nationals. Third, you want to associate a person being queer or even transsexual to shootings. I can tell you right now, just by your very statement, you are a Trumper, and thus not worthy of my time and energy. And by your comment, you are obviously in favor of what Charlie Kirk stood for. He was a racist, misogynistic, homophobic bigot." And that was the end of my reply. So you guys can go to that reply on that video and make your comment known there. Okay, and here's one to this other thing to do with what's behind the dark side of Christian nationalism. this person to this video called What's Behind the Dark Side of Christian Nationalism. So get this. This person on here states, too late, the movement is widespread once again. This is not the 2000 to 2010s where people criticize religion, but we're in a new era with Gen Z and even millennials rooting for Christianity. Cope harder as your atheist movement begins to crumble in the US. Maybe put out more videos 24/7 so few people like, and they gave a regular subscribers comments. This person is a regular on my in my YouTube comments. She's a subscriber, and so I'm not listing which one, but this person's referring to that one when they say maybe put out more videos 24/7 so few people like, and they listed that person I mentioned, can listen. So obviously they got some sort of problem with one of my regulars. And that regular is very encouraging. So here's my reply. Actually, atheism is growing here in the United States. Gen Z and millennials are becoming the nuns, non-religious. The atheist movement is growing, and more people like myself, ex-Christians, are coming out and speaking out against Christianity. What you are doing by commenting the way you are projecting and gaslighting. And you are obviously only going to by the stats that are used by Christian apologists and not real stats from impartial surveys. I am rather enjoying seeing more ex-Christians and atheists out there speaking up. The United States is supposed to have separation of church and state. One religion cannot rule the people and government, or minorities lose their rights. Given your ignorant comment here, you are not worth my time and effort. Christian nationalism has no place in a free society. That's the end of my reply there. Let me look. And here's one called The Tipping Point, Charlie Kirk's Threat to Democracy. And this person says, one republic under God will always remain, trust me. So, what I put as a reply to this person, I put on here, I said, MAGA Christian nationalists are really fascists. Under the Trump regime, there is no democracy, only a 1930s Germany in America. It's people like you that make anti-theists like us keep doing what we do and speak of the dangers of religion on society. If you cannot get it through your head what is happening here, then get off my channel. And that's the end of that reply. So, let's see. And some of these other really bad comments I deleted off. And let's see. Okay, and tell me how this is related to. This is also again on the Charlie Kirk thing, the tipping point, Charlie Kirk's threat to democracy. Now, of course, I was talking about, how bad of a person Charlie Kirk was, and that he's, the thing. So this person replies this. He proselytizing is what he's doing. He or she. And they're gaslighting because they're saying secular and Christian historians agree on these facts. And and the person is proselytizing. No. A lot of secular historians would not agree with this, and that's why they're secular and they're historians. So this person says, secular, so this has nothing to do with Charlie Kirk, but they just did this. So proselytizing like usual. So this person says, secular and Christian historians agree on these facts. Jesus died by crucifixion. The first people who thought they discovered his resurrection were women. Hundreds thought they saw Jesus alive from the dead and reported that he could eat, drink, and have long conversations. His followers were persecuted for what they believed they saw. People who disagreed with Jesus converted to Christianity because they thought he rose from the dead. To go to heaven, literally, all you have to do is believe in Jesus. John chapter 3, verse 36. John 3:36 in the King James Version. Again, this person is quoting this Bible verse. It says, he that believeth on the Son hath everlasting life, and he that believeth not the Son shall not see life, but the wrath of God abideth in him. Now, how does this pertain to my video on Charlie Kirk? This is mainly proselytizing and trying to preach Jesus to me when I already know that stuff and I'm an ex-Christian. This is not contributing anything new to the conversation. So this is what I put to this person. So I replied to that comment by saying, you are proselytizing and contributing nothing new to the conversation pertaining to Charlie Kirk. And you are spewing your beliefs rather than actual facts. Don't think you can come on an atheist podcast and convert the atheist when many here are ex-Christians, such as myself, and debunked the nonsense you are spewing. You are also gaslighting by saying secular historians agree with Christian historians on the claims that you are making. Projecting, gaslighting, and proselytizing are common among Christians, but you can provide no verifiable scientific proof of your claims. And that's what I put. And also, this one person I hid from my channel, but I left my reply to that person. That person, I had to take that person off the channel. But here's one other reply that I made to that person that I hid from the channel. This one was to where I put, I am an ex-Christian and heard this several times before. Try something no one has heard before, and this time use verifiable scientific evidence for your claims or get off my channel. Your delusions don't have to become mine. I chose common sense over myths. And again, the person I replied to for that one is hidden from the channel, so you can't see who I was replying to. See, I had to delete some of these comments off. Some of them were getting through the filter. YouTube was sending some of the comments to the held folder, but some of the comments made it through the filter into the comment section, and then I had to delete certain ones off and or report them, or both, and then hide them from the channel. One such thing is when I talk about the dangers and damages of religion, or, I talk about, reason and facts and whatever, and I give my opinion on those, I'm bringing reason and logic and empathy and whatever to the conversation. But I get called all sorts of things, whether it makes it into the comment section or whether it gets sent to my held folder. You should see the stuff in my held folder that I get. It is just awful. Just the worst kind of hate from the so-called loving Christians. And so I've gotten called liar. I've gotten, that or that I'm delusional and that I'm the one not living in reality, and I've gotten gaslit, and people supposedly saying they've got evidence for this, this, and this, and that evidence, I mean, it's debunked. That's not, they obviously listening to apologists. And then what people do too, I mentioned about, I even have it on my profile, my channel, my introduction. I have it listed that those of you that, in other words, you're here to listen to my message. You're not here to count how many teeth I have in my head. I have it listed right on the introduction to my channel. That those of you, the reason why I don't have an upper denture right now, I can't afford one. And then I have a problem with eating with a denture in. So I'd only wear it for cosmetic purposes, and I can't afford to get a new one right now. So, and if you want to see a real person on camera and not an AI figure, I either have to hide behind a big mic you see in previous videos. I use a microphone, this big microphone, and I put it up near my face to try to cover most of my face. Some people didn't like that. However, when the mic is away from my face and I use this thing only and you see my face, I get criticized about my mouth. So before I bought that mic, I was getting criticized about my mouth. And then I put the mic up close to my mouth, and people didn't like that. Well, pull it away from my mouth, and mainly using the headphones right now, and people see everything. Well, they don't like that again, and they claim it's hard to concentrate on anything. And why don't I wear a denture? And this last person said, I'm an old lady. I'm 50, but in other words, without me wearing a denture, I look really old, and they can't concentrate on anything. And I'm here being brave. My message is strong enough that I'm willing to have a podcast, be on camera, regardless of how I look, so that you can listen to that message. And for those of you who are very immature, and are only here to criticize and make fun of my looks, well, then you don't need to be on the channel, because I'm here to speak common sense, reason, logic, facts, speaking about the damages of religion on society, on people and society. I'm here to discuss the damages of religion. Specifically Christianity, because Christianity is the majority, majority of the population here in the United States, and I'm an ex-Christian. For those of you who are only on here to count the teeth in my head, how many teeth I have left in my head, you have no business being here, and you're just going to get reported and deleted off and hidden from the channel. You're not going to be allowed to do that anymore. You're not going to be allowed to spew your hate. You're not going to be allowed to do that. If you're a Christian projecting and gaslighting, I'm going to leave your comments in the comments for other people to make fun of you, not just me. So if I leave your projecting and gaslighting, if you're a Christian who projects and gaslight, and I'll leave that in the comments, you're just there so we can, for our own entertainment, so we can make fun of you. Now, so what I want to discuss, some people, they are too afraid to get on the camera and be on YouTube for how they look. But I say, I'm being brave, I'm showing you my all, because I want to tell you, don't be afraid. If your message is strong enough, you want to get that message out. If your message is strong enough, then you shouldn't care how you look on camera. If people are mature enough and adult enough. They won't care how you look. If your message is strong enough, get on camera. And I mean, look at me. Everything gone up top. I'm on here. I'm giving you that message. I'm speaking my truth. I don't care if you're missing all the teeth in your head. I don't care if you're butt ugly. I don't care if you're 300 pounds. If your message is strong enough, you should not care, what you look like on camera. Get that message out. And there's going to be some people being mature enough to listen to your message and forego what you look like, regardless of what they think you look like. People are here. You're on camera. I'm here on YouTube and elsewhere giving my message. I'm not here for those people to make fun of how I look. And it's very typical. When I get that, I've gotten a point where I expect anything from these Christians, any kind of hate, any kind of other. So when I get that, I just, what an asshole, and then I just delete them off. But anyway, that's what's going on. I feel like a broken record because I keep mentioning this. And also, a while back, I got somebody on there, instead of saying anything at all, they just said, the noise in the background is awful. That's all they said. And so when I'm inside, see, and you just heard that thing go off. The air conditioner is on. It's a warmer day today. Some days lately it gets cold and then you see me in a flannel. But today I decided to do this inside. And what's wrong inside? When it's warm enough, the air conditioning going, people complain of the air conditioner. But there's been all sorts of Charlie Kirk comments. People that are obviously in favor of Charlie Kirk, which is sickening. Christians that are favoring Charlie Kirk. And then this other comment. Let's see. It says, Holy War, how religion fuels misogyny. I had someone on here telling me, you are clearly very confused. This is what mental illness looks like, everybody. And so I put in here a reply to that person. The projection certainly is strong with you. I'm not your punching bag for your own insecurities you are admitting to. And so one of these comments, which I discussed in one of my previous videos, that these comments, sometimes they think that, oh, you must be talking about Catholicism, or you must be talking about Calvinism, or you must be talking about, in other words, their Christianity is the true Christianity, and you must be talking about some different form of Christianity. So, I want to repeat this and then tell you what my reply to this was. And you're very familiarized with this whole personal relationship thing too. So this person said, dogmatic religions are all the same cult mentality, all fear-based. Now get this. The irony of it all. So get this. I'm going to repeat this. At first it starts out good, but then it turns delusional. So this says, dogmatic religions are all the same cult mentality, all fear-based. But that's not the same as personal spiritual journey with God and Christian beliefs. What you described sounds like Catholicism. So this was my reply to the person. This was a reply I did like 2 weeks ago. So here's my reply to that person. First, you say all dogmatic religions are the same cult mentality and fear based, but then you do what the Christian cult does when someone claims it's very dogmatic and problematic religion, as you claim Christianity is a personal journey with God. Most Christians will try to claim it's not a religion like others, but a personal relationship with Jesus. And as far as what I described is not just Catholicism, it's fundamentalist Christian sects as well. I was raised in a fundamentalist Baptist environment. Evangelicals are also dogmatic and cult like. All Christian denominational sects come from the Christian belief system. And whether you look at the Old Testament or the New Testament, everything in the Bible pertaining to your belief system screams the word cult. So in the very statement you just made, you first told the truth by saying dogmatic religions are all the same cult mentality. But then you excused Christianity, of which uses the same dogmatic and cult-like behavior, and claim Christianity is a personal spiritual journey with God. Christianity and the Bible show all the signs of a cult. If it walks like a duck, talks like a duck, it is a duck. So, and that is the end of my reply on that. I was listening recently about all the Democratic people that were killed by what you would call radicals, the MAGA Trumpsters. There's been a lot of violence, death threats, and whatever. To say judges, Democratic leaders, like the two Democratic leaders in Minnesota, the state Democrats, these other things. And yet, Trump and all those people, there's a few memorials, there's all this to do over Charlie Kirk, and now there's anybody who speaks anything against Charlie Kirk. Some of them are getting fired, and there's a lot going on. I mean, Trump and his mega bigots can say all sorts of things and criticizing that. But no, you're not allowed to say anything bad about Charlie Kirk. And yet, and they claim the left are radicals and they're very violent and this and that and the other thing, when really, if you look at it, there's a lot more violence going on from MAGA toward, the liberal left, the Democrats. There's a lot more violence. MAGA is the one that's very violent. And so it's totally twisted around. So, and then considering Charlie Kirk was stating that there has been a lot of shootings by trans people, what defines you, the sex that defines you doesn't define what you're doing with the gun that's in your hand. We all have hands. We have access to guns. It's what's in the person's mind that defines what they do with the gun that's in their hand. Being a trans doesn't make you any more or less violent than being a heterosexual does. Those who were in favor of Trump and Charlie Kirk, they like to claim that Charlie Kirk's shooter was a liberal, which he's a conservative Republican, and they like to claim that maybe he had some trans person for a sexual partner, whatever, his roommate, whatever. They like to try to blame it on the left, even though it's a conservative Republican. And then they like to try to claim it was because of trans people why this person shot Charlie Kirk, some trans thing. When really, Charlie Kirk, I mean, he was he is a homophobic. He is against. They have the Republicans have this big worry about transgender people, so they're spreading a whole lot of disinformation, misinformation, spreading it all around about trans people, which, it's not truth. Charlie Kirk, he was a racist, misogynist, and all that bad stuff. The Bible condones it. He was for anything to do with the Bible, including slavery. He was for it. And this one video, I had somebody commenting and saying something like, saying something about that. I was for queers and not speaking for God or something like that. And I said something like, and looks like you're for discrimination and not human decency, is what I said. And then also recently, I think it was on one of the Charlie Kirk videos that I did. Oh, it might have been a Charlie Kirk video. I'm not sure. It was one of the most recent ones. All they said was, sounds like you're reading off a ChatGPT script. As if I had nothing to do with the video. Now, for those of you who know me, know that I use AI as a tool. I don't use it for it to do everything for me. I use it as a tool. Think of like if you're hiring an assistant. Okay, so you hire an assistant, maybe to help you with a video, maybe to, let's see, presidents, they have speechwriters. At least most of them do. Trump doesn't, but a lot of the times he just babbles. Say, if a president has their own speechwriter, that would be an assistant. They're helping them write a speech. So you hire somebody to help you with certain things in the video. Maybe a producer or whatever. In other words, I can't hire anybody. It got to be the point where I had to stick my face in the thumbnail to get more people to click on it. If I used AI only and I didn't put my face in it, I got less clicks. Once I put my face in it, then I got more clicks. But anything AI, even just a thumbnail, some won't even click on it. One person blocked me simply because of a thumbnail. They don't want to listen to what I have to say. The reason why I have to have a script written. Or I just keep babbling on for an hour. The script, I can better time it out. I know what I have to say, and I don't keep repeating the same thing. So it works for me to have a script. And what I do the research, do whatever. AI, I was putting AI images in the background, especially for winter months. And people complained about that. And for one video, with all those AI images I put, say, within one video, I'd put a whole lot. Each AI image, I could get a description for that image, what image to use behind me. But then I went to one of these AI websites that did the free images, had that image made. But still, they wouldn't always make it according to my liking. It wasn't exactly what... So sometimes I'd have to go through a few images just to pick out one. One image out of several images in the video. So sometimes it would take me 2 days to do the research, do the video script, get all the images, get things rehearsed, what all I wanted to put into the video, to make maybe a 20-minute video with all the AI images and whatnot. So I put a lot into there, even though I had AI doing some of the research for me. what I do with AI, like I said, if you use it as a tool, an assistant, but you have to put some of yourself in there. You have to you should put your face in the video, and not only stick to the script, but add a little bit in there. And then what you do, you don't just rely on them to write the script for you. You give them lots of the information, and you tell them, make it suiting for my audience, or make it more hilarious or sarcastic to my audience's liking, but use the information I give you to put into the script and just make it more interesting for my audience, to listen to. So there's sarcastic commentary. Yeah, AI has got a better sense of humor than what I got. They come up with some pretty good doozers. And I read it, I'm like, yeah, that sounds like me. I'm a real smartass. But they kind of come up with the comments they know my audience is really going to go with. And so, if that's what it takes to get my audience to listen to my message, yeah, I use AI for an assistant. So the script, I have to go to AI to write the final, I give them a draft, basically. Sometimes I ask AI to do the research, and sometimes I look everything up online, and other times I just make a commentary and type out my comments and whatever, and then I hand it to AI, and I don't always use ChatGPT. Lately, I've been going to this other free thing, and then of course I use vidIQ for a lot of stuff now to kind of help. So I really don't go to ChatGPT anymore, but these other sites have a few different AI things for free as long as you watch all the ads they've got on there. And they have advertisements all over the thing. It drives me nuts in order to have their stuff free. And so one of the AI software things I use on this one website, the AI program is Gemini 2.5 Flash, and that's the system right now that's writing the scripts for me. I don't even really use ChatGPT anymore. I flip between 2 or 3 different things, and lately I was doing stuff outside for recording because people would complain about their air conditioner, but then when I go outside, I've got bugs and bees chasing me around, and you should see me off camera. But outside, it's got pretty scenery in the back where I don't need to put a bunch of AI images to interest you. Pretty scenery in the back, anybody's going to go for that. But now when I come in for winter, I'm in Iowa. So when I'm in for the winter time, you're going to see some AI images in the background, but not so many AI images in one video, because that was a lot of work. So AI does not actually make the video. I have AI write the script, but the final script. AI doesn't write everything for me. I give them a bunch of stuff that I want in the script, and I tell them what to use and whatever. They are there to make it sound more interesting. They use the information I give them, and then they make the script. They make a script into a certain time frame, certain amount of words. You tell them what emotion you want it as, whether you want it sarcastic or humorous or empathetic, what you want. They write the final draft, so you give them so it's me, and the original message is me. Now the sarcastic, hilarious comments, yeah, that's AI, because I can never. I'm a smart ass, but when doing a video, I can never always come up with a sarcastic, something to get you laughing. I'm a little bit more nervous sometimes when I'm making the videos, and other times I'm right at home. This is what happens when I don't have a script. I babble on for an hour. A script, you don't repeat, and you have something written down, so that you don't forget to say something, or you say it once, you don't repeat it. So that's why I have to have the script within a certain time frame. And people have been telling me, I've asked them before, what's a proper time frame would you think would be average for one of my videos? And I'm like, 7 minutes, an hour, 20 minutes. The majority would say around 20 minutes. But a recent comment, I got to report that was held. Hold on. I wanted to discuss with you today. Because this, whoops, I opened up the wrong thing. Okay. What was I doing now? See, this is what happens when I go off script. I'm not in script. I just blab away. You guys are finding me boring. Let's go into the held folder. Hold on. Because this one was held for me, and I wanted to read it off. So this was on a Charlie Kirk one. This is a typical thing. I get comments from Christians on the Charlie Kirk videos. Most of them go to my held folder. And with the worst kind of hate imaginable, and yet they're Christians. And this one claims they're not even Christians. But this one claims, this one's in my held folder. It says, I'm not even religious, but I would rather have my kids grow up near Christians rather than mentally deranged sexual faggots. But most Christians are bigoted and everything. But he'd rather have his kids live near Christians than be near a queer person who he thinks is mentally ill. So this person right now, I am going to report them. And one last thing, since we're talking comments, I've been getting more and more comments. They go to my held folder because YouTube, including myself, we don't like links in the comment section. And I'll tell you what. Now, sure, I get a lot of my followers want to leave links to YouTube videos on certain subjects. Sometimes they leave links to videos for their own channel. And let me tell you where this becomes a problem. Most people leaving links would either attempt to sell you something or keep leaving links to something that they've got, which is, if it's just referencing something that on the lines of what I talk about, no problem with that. But the thing is, leaving links in the comment section to people's on people's channels, a lot of channel owners, a lot of channel administrators, podcasters or not, don't like links in the comment section because YouTube definitely frowns against it. It looks like you're spamming. And then it makes it look bad for the channel. When people come to the channel and they're going through the comments, they're watching your videos. If they see a lot of links in the comments, they're going to be turned off by it. So if I were to allow people to do that, and I'm getting a lot of links showing up in my held folder, and regardless of their intentions, whether it's good or bad, I have to delete them off. I can't allow that to be in the comment section. Whether it's just a link to a related video somebody else did, or it's referencing something they want me to go check out, I can't allow links in the comment section. YouTube frowns against it, Um, I do, because like I said, when people come here to the channel, if I get a lot of links in my comments, it looks like spamming, and people would be turned off to it. So please don't leave links in the comments. If you want me to check out a video, state the name of it and who's got it. Don't leave the link. You can still reference the video that way by putting the title and the person in the comment, but do not put a link. So that's why some of you who are giving these links, you might not see them in the comments. YouTube sending them to my help folder, or simply deleting them completely off. Some of the comments people say they've been getting deleted, I don't even see come to the help folder. So it must be something pretty bad if YouTube's just up and deleting it without me even seeing it. And yet the comments I get in my help folder, oh, those are doozies. So you fellow heathens, ex-Christians, atheists, deconstructors, Christians who are on here doubting and just starting to ask those big questions, I am so glad that you are here. Continue watching my channel, and I look forward to the next time we talk. Please like, subscribe, and share for more content. Thanks for watching, and bye.